Sure.
Welcome, everybody. This is another episode of Arsenal Fan Circle. And
I hope the reception will be able to get yeah.
I have a special guest today. I have Gundit News, who is co hosting on Arsenal Fan Circle today. I've Gundit News on the line with me to talk about Brighton yesterday, talk about what's happening with the transfer window, and talking about where we go from here as a club. So, what do you think, Mahir? Tell me what your thoughts were about yesterday. West Ham.
Um, okay, guys. Welcome all gooners to Arsenal Fan Circle. First of all, I just want to shout out to you guys all for showing us love and showing us the support. Keep commenting, and subscribing on our page on YouTube, Arsenal Fan Circle.
I want to.
Basically, my thoughts on yesterday.
Yeah.
Flat game, dead game. We had quite a few opportunities. Our strikers just did not finish them off. Emery chose the wrong starting lineup, not including Torreira, partnering Xhaka with of Guendouzi, which was a bad decision, as this is not our midfield pairing. This shouldn't be part of his base 11 to start. Also, not starting the likes of Bellerin in our back line, going with a back 3 instead of a 4. And also omitting Ramsey, which was weird. I know no Ozil. We will get into that. But bloody hell, man. Ozil injured from his head to his bloody small toe every single week. And I think Emery is at the moment trying to freeze him out. What do you say, Raymond?
Yeah, it certainly looks like he's trying to be frozen out of the squad. Um, Certainly, if you're not playing week in, week out, as a player, you should feel like you're better than that, and you should feel like you want to be part of a team.
Surely
Um,
it can't be tactical. Surely.
it has to be tactical on Emery's part. He obviously sees Ozil as not being part of his plans. I wonder if when the transfer window ends in January, if Emery will bring him back in from game to the game. Because I think going down the stretch, it's going to get pretty tight, and he may need to do that.
Do you know how hard it is? What do you think? On a scale of 1 to 10, how hard is it going to be to get Ozil to either work or to sell him? Because there's really not a lot of clubs that'll take.
Yeah, it's going to be enormously difficult. He's just signed, I think, a 3 year contract or a 4 year contract, and we're only 1 year into that. So if we're stuck with a player for another 3 years, we need to find a way to make it work. If we're stuck with him.
If we stuck with him, that's the second option basically.
Second option, first option, in Emery's mind and most Gunners' mind, I think, is to move him on at this point, and particularly in light of the financial fair play news that we just got in the press conference in the last week.
Oh yeah, most definitely. With in regards to that, the FFP rules and the likes of us only having to, we can only loan from clubs, and a lot of these clubs do actually just want cash for their players at low fees, even though, you know.
Yeah, so with 350,000, it's going to be enormously difficult to move him on. It's not the player's fault. We want to say
Nope.
that right now. Hey, if you were in a job, Mahir, Gundit News, you're in a job and you're going to be given that amount of money, you're not going to say no to it, right?
No, hell no. I'll take that money all day, every day.
Yeah.
Whether or not, even, and then it's not my fault if I'm not performing up to the levels and you're now saying, listen here, we have to terminate. But then again, you can terminate my contract under those circumstances.
Yeah.
But as a footballer, I mean, regardless of whether he's at home on the training pitch, he did tweet quite a few times saying 1 week of full training, ready for the big game. And then it was an absolute shock because we're thinking, okay, that means we're going to be seeing at least Ozil for the first time in Lord knows how long. It's been so long. Like, I don't know when last I actually saw Ozil on the pitch.
You know, he actually played a full game. The last full game, I think, away from home was Bournemouth, and at the end of November. Actually, no, I'm wrong. He was not involved in that Bournemouth game. I believe the last game he played was Burnley, when he had that assist for.
Do you know how long ago that is?
Yeah, it's 4 or 5 games back now. Certainly before Christmas.
That was like almost, I think maybe even still in that unbeaten streak that we had, that we were riding our luck though a little bit.
So I know you're.
Over the cracks.
I know you're quite mad still about that West Ham result yesterday.
I'm sure we all worldwide around the world feel heartbroken because do you know, even the smaller teams don't fear us anymore.
Yeah,
they don't see us as the Arsenal anymore.
Yeah, we're definitely a second-tier club right now.
We're fans are saying, you know, you guys are back to being the banter club.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, especially United, the United supporters. Oh my God.
I feel like we're gonna have these rough patches through the season. I think in every season you're gonna have every team will have a result like this where they don't show up, they don't play very well, and we're caught defensively with a goal that we should not have conceded.
It was such a stupid goal to give away. Yeah.
I actually saw it coming, Mahir. I saw Lacazette taking a very bad angle on the attacker. He got past Lacazette, put the cross in, and Xhaka just very bad clearance. The header dropped to a West Ham player in the box. It should never happen.
Gave it to Declan Rice, no? It was a very light touch he even gave Declan. And then you're standing standing right at the keeper's feet, so you're expected to score. Those are like what.
And for a defender, a great finish for a defender.
Yeah, very, very, very bad. But I mean, you can't have a back three and then you've got the likes of a Koscielny, who I'm sure we can agree Koscielny is done at the moment. He used to be one of the top.
Yeah, I've seen where he refused the opportunity to go play with Thierry Henry at Monaco. I think that might be out of loyalty to the club. He feels a sense of loyalty to get us into the top 4, and I think he is a character. If he gets fit again, he can do a job for us till the end of the season.
Oh yeah, but that's only if he gets fit though. Like, can I see him still being with us in another 2 years or another year?
No.
At least I could, if he could get fully fit. He could do a brilliant job for us there. He was considered one of the best centre backs in the Premier League. You could possibly say in the top 10 of the world. Not too long ago, maybe 3 seasons.
As our club captain, I feel like he wants to stay with us and help us get top 4. He's not going to jump ship. He's not a type of player who's going to jump ship and go to Monaco. He may well do that in the summertime. We do need to offload some players in the summertime.
Oh yes, that we will. You and I will obviously discuss.
Yeah.
The players who we think could likely be sent out permanently, basically sold, and those that could possibly come in and replace them as well.
Yeah, because with the financial fair play and the wage bill being what it is, we do need to move some players on. But I feel like Lacazette and Aubameyang, as fans, we all clamored for them to be in the starting lineup, and they were restored to the starting lineup, and we didn't get anything out of them.
You can only give. You can only give what you get, what's in front of you, basically. So, like Bernd Leno, people are coming down very harshly on him. But, I mean, do you expect anything less having the likes of Mustafi in front of you?
Yeah. I think I've said before in one of the videos that a goalkeeper can be inspired by a back four that's solid in front of him. We all saw what David De Gea did today, huh?
Oh my goodness.
He
If
pulled out
you have
another
him in your
performance
fantasy,
like he did against us a year ago.
exactly. They say he becomes Superman once he's a big occasion.
Yeah,
Unlike certain players that we know that don't pitch up at all, like even in the big games when you really need them, then something will be wrong. They'll be suspended, mostly out because of an injury. Um, yeah, man, I just wish we had more players that knew how much this actually means to us.
So, how do you feel? My feeling on the whole press conference
Yeah.
reveal. There was a whole press conference reveal on our only we can only sign loan players, and my feeling was that we tried to get Ever Benega, and Raul and Sven stymied that possible
Yeah, we tried to get
transfer.
Eva Benega, but
And then Emery understood what happened historically with Wenger, and he was determined not to be hung out to dry.
yeah, unfortunately, there's a clash of heads. There's a clash right there when it comes to somebody like Eva Benega, where I don't think, even though he has played for Emery before, he's turning 31 or 32,
Mhm.
and we don't need temporary players right now. Okay, yeah, we do, but short term is not a long term plan.
Yeah, we're in a very
Carrasco, the likes of Dennis Suarez.
we need to get those deals over the line now, right? We must have Gundit News has been doing a lot of
Yeah, like I'm saying,
screaming
yeah,
in the
just
last.
gonna.
What happened to your voice? You've been like, it's almost like you're angry that Arsenal lost in the last 24 hours.
Yes, I am very angry. I had lost my voice, having gone on a rant this morning, and I think it's just the weather this side. With the heat also, while you're watching and you get a bad result, it just doubles up, on everything. It doubles up on your mood.
Yeah.
So basically sport for me.
All fans worldwide they base their days and their weekends on Arsenal results, and when we get a bad result, it ruins our weekend. You know.
Yeah, I mean, and not only that, now you've got people on our backs now calling us saying, yeah, you're back to being the same old Arsenal. I'm like, the results have been the same, like maybe in a Wenger era, like last year, but
The results have been
the changes.
the results have been strangely similar up to this point of the year when you're going from Wenger to Emery, but basically we have the same players in place.
Yeah, we've been left with the mess from the old regime.
Yeah.
And that's just messed up. That's messed up a lot of things. If you're talking about wages, you're talking about players. That's like players leaving. We've been spending ridiculous amounts of money on players who sit on the bench and at home doing absolutely bugger all.
Yeah. When you become an accountant and start to add up all of that money that's sitting on the bench and not even making its way onto the bench, that becomes maddening as a supporter.
Maddening. If you add up those figures, which somebody has done before, and the amount of money that could have been possibly brought in for players who we've swapped or just sent out, just been allowed to leave on a free.
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous. I'm sure we could have bought the likes of a Dybala and a Griezmann and put them all in one team.
I really hope moving forward, Mahir, that we can become better accountants and manage our money and our resources better. Sven,
Yeah,
what's Sven's nickname? He needs to unearth some gems, right?
Yeah, that also. That also. I mean,
What do they call them? Diamond eyes?
Diamond. They call him Diamond Eyes, isn't it?
Diamond eyes. You need to go out and find. He's like a character out of James Bond. You need to go out and find some players
Exactly.
that we can make the team better and gradually improve. We're in a tricky position right now. We're in between Europa and Champions League right now. We need to push the boat out and maybe do something this season. Or do we rely
Yeah.
solely on the Europa League?
No. No. Because if you look at the teams right now that are going to be in the next round, there's one or two teams that could possibly go with one of the English teams through to the final. I mean, Chelsea's still in it. We could even get Chelsea.
Mm-hmm. No, that's okay. We're gonna beat them next weekend. We got Chelsea. We can beat Chelsea. We got a big game next weekend with Chelsea.
We need to prove it in the week when we play them.
Yep.
On Saturday.
We gotta prove it that psychologically we can match this team. We should have beaten them at Stamford Bridge earlier in the season.
Yeah, like he just needs to get the tactics. He needs to get formation that decide who is bringing on and off. Clay Ozil. We want to see Ozil. We want to see if this is going to be worth it or if this is not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
Please show us that your decisions that you're making are the correct ones. You say it's for tactical reasons. Show us, please, by all means.
I've got one.
In a game in a big way.
I've got one final question for you, Mahir from Gundit News.
You got what?
One final question. Who has kindly joined me today as a co-host on the Arsenal Fan Circle? My question to you, Gundit News, is: should we incorporate some of the younger players into the team to help us get that top 4 spot?
Okay. Players, youngsters that I see could possibly help us push is the likes of Emil Smith-Rowe, Joe Willock.
Yep.
I don't think Saka is just ready yet. And they have tried to incorporate Eddie Nketiah before.
They have.
Your thoughts on this, Raymond?
I think you need to. I think you need to throw him in for a game and start to learn and win. Win with the team, score some goals, get it. I think Nketiah looks like a player who needs confidence. If he gets that first goal, who knows what's going to happen for him? And maybe it's going to be in the FA Cup.
Be an outcomer like that, and that maybe that's what he needs. Just a few goals. We saw what Joe Willock did.
Maybe we treat the FA Cup with putting some of those kids in there, and because the league is so important.
Train them for Europa.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that would actually be a good idea. That would be actually a very good idea because in the meanwhile, let them try and figure out the finances and all the situations that's been happening. But in the meantime, while we do have a little bit of time, why not incorporate them in the FA and slowly get them into the Europa League team as well,
Yeah. We're going to have a big couple of weeks coming up. We've got Chelsea next week. We've got Manchester United in the FA Cup. We want to wipe that fucking smile off his Solskjaer's face in the FA Cup.
Oh,
and we've got Manchester City is our next away day in the league. So difficult times ahead.
Very difficult times ahead, but I think we just keep faith. Keep faith in this.
Thank you, Ian Gallagher. Ian Gallagher has just dropped in. We have a question. Hey, Gundit, we have a question from Ian Gallagher. Do we miss Alexis? Thank you for the comment, Ian.
Unfortunately, yeah, thanks for the comment. Do we miss Alexis? No. We don't miss Alexis at all.
I feel like Alexis was an Energizer bunny and we used up all of his energy in those 3 years with Arsenal. He's a great player. He shows great commitment.
That was his peak.
he
me,
had
if Man
one.
United thought they were getting Robin van Persie part two, I'd love to let you know I'd love to know your thoughts right now.
And
Because Alexis is a no
I don't,
right
Ian.
now.
Ian, if you can tell us if you're a Manchester United supporter or an Arsenal supporter, um, we're all friends here. We will be friendly. If you are a Manchester
Yes,
United
exactly.
fan.
We love
Um,
to know your thoughts as well, on the whole situation.
but I feel like the when we traded Alexis at the time, we were hating it as supporters because we thought we were going to
Yeah.
give Manchester United a really good player, but history has shown. But maybe Solskjaer brings him back into the fold. I mean, we've seen with Mourinho that he scored a hat trick and assist versus West Ham in the same stadium 2 years ago. Chilean supporter, welcome. And okay, a
Awesome.
Chilean supporter who is supporting West Ham, but so I think he follows Alexis Sanchez. He's a hero right there, Ian. He's a hero for Chile for bringing the Copa America twice to your country. And we love Alexis as an Arsenal player. Unfortunately, when you move to Manchester United, we lose a little bit of love for a player who moves. Right, Gundit?
Yeah, we view him basically like as a mercenary. Because he could have joined Man City. We
But
could have gotten a fee for him. That's due to the old
he's
issue. We
taking
could
care of
get a
his
fee for him.
family. He's taking care of his family. We all would
Yes,
do the
that
same thing,
no,
right?
no, no. We're never against that. That's a very beautiful thing that he's taking care of his family.
Yeah.
Only thing is that he's moved to a rival, and what the way he moved, it hurt us because we absolutely love that guy to bits.
Yeah. Ian, thank you so much for the questions. We appreciate the back and forth between our viewership, and as things move forward, we can have more and more episodes like this. I'm guesting Gundit News on today. He's going to be co-hosting with me on this site. It is Arsenal Fan Circle. Subscribe, like, and comment. Very much appreciate your comments, Ian. We will try to make this more of a regular thing. If you have one or two more questions, Ian, we can take those. And otherwise, we'll be signing off pretty soon because who wants to listen to two old guys talking forever and ever? Right, Gundit?
Surely they'll start to love what we do because
Yeah.
personally the chemistry is very. I'm loving the chemistry at the moment. And
Ian, if you're not a
obviously,
subscriber, please subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, Ian. So you can hit that bell notification so that you know when we're dropping a new video. This will be a regular thing. Um, Mahir Abrams from South Africa has his Gundit News, and I have Arsenal Fan Circle. We will collaborate at the weekends, especially Saturdays or Sundays. So
yeah, we love to inform you guys of all the latest happenings, whether it's rumors, whether it's player ratings, whether it's analysis, whether it's just basically talking about the Arsenal in general, with all these situations that we've been having. But one thing I do want to let you guys know is do not give up faith in the new boss. Don't become a deluded gooner, not like deluded gooner. Shout out to him. But
yeah.
someone who's crazy, who doesn't set realistic. I mean, you could also say with the 22 run, it was papering over the cracks, and now we have been exposed. But we do love you guys, and thank you so much for your support. Tune into my channel as well.
Yeah, please check out Gundit News. Go ahead.
We co-host and host. We do co-hosting and hosting of
And
the shows.
And we talk over each other. Okay.
I'm sure the guys will love it when we do get everything.
I have one more question. Gundit News. One more question. Ian Gallagher is keeping the show rolling. Thank you, Ian. Question: should Arsenal have gone for Pellegrini after he left City?
After Pellegrini left City, would I have him at our club?
Should Arsenal have targeted Pellegrini?
Oh.
in this last manager change. He's a decent manager.
Sorry, just
He won a title with Manchester City. Manuel Pellegrini.
okay.
Should
Yeah, yeah.
Arsenal?
No, should Arsenal have signed Pellegrini?
Yes, as manager.
I think it would have been too short of it would have been a short-term fix. I think Emery has a plan. Emery is the man for the job. I fully believe him, as all the gooners should believe. And no chance of Emery out anytime soon. Please give the guy lots of time. He needs 2-3 years to be building this squad. Because like right now he's pushed it as far as we can get.
I want to say Pellegrini's a great manager. He won the title with Manchester City, and I feel like he got shafted a little bit by Guardiola coming in. What Manchester City did to him. He had proven himself making poor sides play good football. He would have been good transition for next manager, like he did for Pep. Yeah. All right. So Ian is saying that he had proven himself as a good transition between managers, so he would have been a good option for Arsenal. Your thoughts?
I would have been all for it, because if you even go back to videos that I've discussed on Gundit News, I have discussed how many managers that there were available.
Well, shit, we were looking at Arteta, and Pellegrini's obviously better than Arteta.
Oh my God! No, the thing I couldn't believe was the answer to all the people that ask us questions, like Ian. Basically, Pellegrini was one of my top 5. I would put him in the top 5. There was no speak of Mikel Arteta. I hated that. That was going to be an extremely idiotic decision. Pellegrini, who was the other one? Simeone, Max Allegri.
I actually had envisaged Yogi Low coming on board to keep Ozil happy, because at the time we wanted to keep Ozil at the time. Most Gunners will tell you they wanted to keep Ozil this time last January. I have certainly changed my viewpoint on that.
I also changed my viewpoint. Now it looks more likely that I would have kept Alexis Sanchez. I would have done any means necessary and rather offered Alexis the money that Ozil got.
Yeah.
If we had known, but we can't see into the future though.
At the time, I'm sure Alexi and Ozil were talking to each other on the training ground, and asking, "Well, what are you gonna do? You know, what are you gonna do?"
Yeah, exactly. Where are you going? If you're going there, then let me also consider it. Give me a week or so, and then or the next few days I'll see you. Then we discuss again. Then
So Sanchez went to United for a big pay packet, and
that's all. He went for the money.
Ozil stayed for the money.
Ozil stayed for the money, and Alexis left for the money.
And
ridiculous.
And they're both playing Fortnite. They're both playing Fortnite together.
Oh, please get me also in there so I can scream at you on the mic. Hey, Ozil, get your ass to the kitchen now.
I want to thank Ian for coming on. It's great when you have participation and back and forth.
Oh yes. We love interaction.
So I think we'll pretty much wrap it up there. This has been Gundit News coming on, talking to Arsenal Fan Circle. Gundit News is part of Arsenal Fan Circle. We are collaborating.
And Arsenal Fan Circle is part of Gundit News as well, family.
We'd love to in the future bring some more guests on, so we gotta have a 3-way conversation. Make it a circle. Right now it's a line. You got 2 dots. It's a line. Maybe a third person. It's a triangle.
We just want to complete it, and then maybe a 4th.
Ian, thanks for coming on. We appreciate your questions.
Thanks so much, Ian.
And
much appreciated, my brother.
Anyone else listening to this after the live session, please drop your comments down below, and we'll have some back and forth until next time. Is there anyone else out there that would like to ask a question? Because we were about to wrap it up. And if there's anyone else out there, we can take 1 or 2 more questions. No doubt.
Yep.
We've
Yep.
had a very interesting and lively discussion. This is Arsenal Fan Circle in partnership with Gundit News. We're going to be giving you some live sessions every weekend, probably, and I'll be dropping some videos myself through the week. We have two people online now. Anyone want to ask a question? Let's talk about another quick topic, Matt, here to give some people some time to ask a question
Okay.
about Arsenal, Emery, the transfer window, where we're going forward now. Are we going forward? Are we regressing? Can we catch Chelsea? Are we getting caught by Manchester United? We're just two goals better off on goal difference than Manchester
Sure.
United right now. So Ollie Gunnar Solskjaer, he's the new Alex Ferguson.
Sure. I don't know if they're looking at him as a permanent manager, but if they are,
Ooh,
I don't really think he can get them to
it's a
where
good
they need to be.
question.
But
London
we
Old
could honestly
School.
be less though.
Good question. London Old School wants to know if Kroenke's going to spend any fucking money.
Nope. 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 He's not going to spend
Not
any money.
not likely. Not likely.
Not likely at all.
We
The likelihood of that happening would probably be like a 5%.
unless we're the LA Rams and we have a new stadium to build, he's not spending any money on us. We are not the LA Rams. We are Arsenal Football Club, and we want
And we do know he does not care. He does not care what happens.
London Old School. Thanks for your question. I
Thanks,
feel
London
like
Old
you
School.
might have known the answer already. It's very depressing.
That's very, very depressing, unfortunately, to give
Yes, London Old
such
School.
negative ones.
London Old School said that he seemed pretty happy last night. Now, I am living in America, but I am originally from Ireland, uh, close to Dublin, so I might have an American accent, but I do know what you're talking about. And I do know that Stan Kroenke was happy yesterday because they won in the NFL, they won a playoff game, which makes probably Stan more happy than us winning the FA Cup last year. You know?
And us winning even a match. Do you know one other thing? Even London Old School, I want to tell you that, and Raymond, I want to tell you guys that, you know, it was even said that one of our legends passed away. I think it was one of the one of the caretakers or founders or
Yeah.
part of the staff.
Yeah,
And he didn't even come down for that to show his respects.
yeah.
That shows you just how much passion he has.
The guy doesn't
for a
care.
club.
The guy doesn't care.
He doesn't care at all.
I was at the.
That's actually really disrespectful.
I've been to two.
You know,
I've been to two games here at the Emirates, and one was the Manchester United game that we beat. We beat Mourinho team 2 years ago, and then
Yeah.
last May I was at Arsene Wenger's last home game, a 5-0 win at Burnley, and when the cameras went on Kroenke, you could feel the whole stadium. It was shouting, "Get out of our club! Get out of our club!" And
yeah, the banners basically say "Love Arsenal, hate Kroenke." Those banners.
we have to remember that it's Kroenke and not the manager. And I think Arsene Wenger had broad shoulders that he was taking all of that weight on his shoulders. Ooh.
And that's the weird thing. That's the weird thing. Now it's being relayed on to a new manager. Like they're leaving him out to dry to have to cope with what we've got, trying to, like
London.
you was earlier, integrate younger players.
London Old School. Thank you for coming on. We have another question right here from Gundit News.
Lovely.
Do you realistically speaking, will Arsenal get fifth or sixth? Now, London Old School wants fourth, but we have to be realistic here. And my point is, I think realistically we're looking at fifth. Being completely
I'm
realistic.
also- being completely realistic, I'm also looking at first. I don't think we'd drop any lower than where we are right now, unless something really bad happens, like we go on a streak of losing quite a few games with like our defense making also obviously
That's it.
stupid mistakes.
It's decided we're going to be in fifth place. We're all three of us are in an agreement on that. You
Yeah,
know,
all three of us.
I like to watch the Luda Gunner, and sometimes I call myself optimistic Gunner with the Luda Gunner. I'm the ultimate optimistic Gunner, and we can all hope, right?
Yeah,
Next
rather
weekend,
have
London Old School. Next
rather
weekend
have
is a big game. Do you think that
oh
we
my
can have? I feel like we can have a reaction, and we can beat Chelsea at the Emirates next weekend. What's your feeling, London Old School? And first of all, what's your feeling, Gundit?
oh yeah. Old school, please let us know. Also, Raymond, I would love to also know what you think. What's gonna happen might happen next week. Personally,
I
in
already
my
told you.
opinion,
I already told you. I think we
quick
can give
snatch,
a
a quick
reaction. We can
snatch,
win.
a quick snatch. 2-1.
Oh, you're putting out predictions.
Yes, I'll put down a prediction now already because, yeah, just to hype it up a little bit, and also to be optimistic,
Yeah, I think
you know.
London Old School has said at home that he thinks we have a chance, and he thinks Ozil will start or
Okay,
should
I
start. Let's
love,
say.
I love, I love that. I love that. He thinks that we could start Ozil.
Yeah.
We need to actually see Ozil.
We need also London Old School said Alba and Lakin need the service, and we desperately need a
Oh
winger. Desperately
yes,
need a winger.
desperately need a winger.
We
Could
need
that
some
winger
width.
be? Could that winger be one of the two people that we've been hardly linked to?
Could be, you know. We still have 3 weeks. What do we have? Like 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks left in the transfer
Yeah.
window. We're looking at loan deals. There's got to be some wingers out there that can help us. London Old School. What do you think about bringing in some of the younger players into the team? I'm old enough to remember George Graham starting with a new team, phasing out players like Charlie Nicholas, bringing in Rocky Rocastle, Michael Thomas, Paul Davis, and even Tony Adams. What's your feeling, London Old School and Gundit, about bringing in some young players?
Look, personally, I think some of the players we could possibly integrate into our team to help us fight. The young I'm thinking of is Emil Smith Rowe and
Emil Smith
the other
Rowe,
one,
yeah, a great player. He's going to
Joe
develop
Willock
and
as
only going
well.
to get better.
Yeah, and Joe Willock as well. I mean,
Joe
he
Willock.
provided 2 goals.
You know,
So,
I think most people were complimentary of Joe Willock, and there was that one guy who's trying to get some fame for himself said something bad about Joe Willock. Anybody who scores 2 goals in the FA Cup deserves credit and deserves respect. That kid is playing his trade.
he's a black trade, and he's doing well. Why would you hate on that?
London Old School has talked about Emil Smith Rowe and Willock, but also play Maitland in his correct position. That would be midfield, right?
By all means, you're playing players in their natural positions. Ainsley Maitland now, if you've noticed, he's been played out of position.
Do you think he could play with Torreira and Xhaka? I would drop Guendouzi for a game or two.
Oh yeah, I would be willing to take that risk, definitely. What would you guys think?
Yes, I mean Torreira and Xhaka would be sitting and let Maitland play a little bit more forward into that close to that 10 position maybe, you know.
That's where he plays. That's his natural position. That's the thing that baffles us also when players are being played out of position and you expect them to do a hell of a job and you slate them when they get put in like a left back situation, get torn against the big team, say for instance Liverpool.
Shout out to London Old School. Thanks for staying with
Thanks,
us
London also. Yes. Much
and
appreciated.
sending in some questions. We're here if you've got more questions. Guendouzi needs to be benched and he needs more experience. Completely agree with that. I think he's done quite well so far, but we have to realize he's a young player and it's a long season. And a lot of these players that have come from the continent, they don't get that rest over the Christmas period. we all love watching games over the Christmas period. You can do so much in the league in those 4 games. You can spring forward so much in the league in those 4 games.
Yeah,
It didn't happen to us, but
relegation and just jump up all of a sudden into the top 8, the top 6 within what, like you say, 3-4 games.
3 or 4 games within the space of 10 days. London Old School said that Guendouzi's a great prospect, but he is a prospect right now. We need to lighten his load a little bit and not have so many games impacting him and fatiguing him.
Exactly.
Interested to know what you guys might think about throwing some young players in there still. I feel like Emery's a little bit nervous because he does have that huge task of trying to get Champions League qualification, whether that be through the top 4 in the league or winning the Europa League. You know, so should we throw a kid or 2 in there, because they will bring that. It's like the team's playing with fear right now a little bit. Throw a kid in there, they don't have that fear, and they're playing in the forward.
Yeah, I mean, what if they got to lose? What if they got to lose?
Yeah, because
it's not like they're gonna have one bad game and be chucked out of, like, get the contract revoked, basically.
If you look at our last 6 games, it's not very good reading. Now, I've explained that away in the Southampton game was terrible because of injuries, and we were just decimated. And the Liverpool game, we were just not prepared for. The very, very low chance we were going to get anything out of that Liverpool game. And then, we've lost to West Ham. I think every team's going to lose a game here and there in the season. And, shock. That was a bit of a shock result. We haven't had too many shock results under Emery.
No.
So it's time to start. Also, it's time to start getting back on that winning ways.
Yeah, but with the way that streak happened, also it covered up a lot of our cracks.
Yeah.
It covered our cracks, the main cracks, with like paper.
Yeah, I mean that 22 game unbeaten was a double-edged sword. We performed a little bit above expectations, and we were garnering points every week.
Yes, we were hyped on what's going to happen next after the games. But I also knew, like, I'm sure you as well, we realized, like, it's going to come to an end sometime. And how are we going to...
No, I think my thinking was, this is the optimism of me. This is my thinking was, wow, he's doing so well with players that are not really his players. And he's put 3 or 4 signings in there that have done good. Torreira and Leno. And Socrates has been good to an extent as well. I thought that Emery, if you gave him lemonade, he could get Coke. give him lemons and he could make Coke out of it. I kind of bought into it a little bit, But yeah, that 22 game unbeaten was fun. It was a lot of fun. But now we're coming into.
It was a lot of fun. But it's just now for the team, such as Finn, Raul, and our coach, to figure out a solution to this whole entire big problem.
So London Old School has basically said the jury's still out on Emery. We think we can all agree on that one. Let's assess it at the end of the season, and he's going to need funds.
Yeah. Please, somebody by all means, donate all your billions and let us go out there and go buy our players that we need. Please, from Gundit News, from Arsenal Fan Circle.
I just find it astounding that, like we had said with Ian Gallagher, and Ian had come on earlier before you London Old School and talked about Alexis Sanchez. How Manchester United are not in this financial fair play problem that we're in right now? Because surely Alexis Sanchez commanding a hefty paycheck just like Ozil is. If anyone can explain that to me, please do.
Look, like we said, we probably now regret keeping, but like Ozil has stayed for money, and that's by no fault his. And Alexis did the same thing, only that he left to go to a rival club, which hurt us more than staying around and basically throwing a tantrum.
London Old
I'm also
School.
with
London Old School has said that he would take Alexis back and send Ozil in the other direction.
wow, that is interesting. What's your thoughts on that? Would you
I
do that?
I agree with it. We have a player who Emery clearly does not trust. I think this all happened going back to a Crystal Palace game when I think Ozil was captain at the time. He was away from home. Emery took him off, and Ozil did not react very well to that substitution. Threw his gloves to the ground in disgust. And I think Emery has remembered that from that point on. And we've seen Ozil very, very few games since. Um, now,
Wow, yeah, the fallout
we
was
all know the
big
work
around that
rate.
time.
We all know the lack of work rate that Ozil puts in puts into it. He has a language style, people will say, but you can show enthusiasm, you can show energy with a language style as well. Ozil,
Look,
Ozil, and Sanchez definitely shows they're very different characters. Sanchez definitely shows his enthusiasm and has energy to burn. Okay, very well done.
exactly. That's just the thing. As a professional footballer, you need to give your absolute everything in what you do on the field. Show us what you do on the field. Then we can excuse you for playing Fortnite late night and
Hmm.
doing this and doing fashion.
Yeah.
Like Bellerin does fashion. He's always at the fashion weeks and stuff.
He's got a
Show
nice
us
top knot.
on the that, yeah, show us on the pitch that you love our club. By any means necessary,
Yeah.
you're going out there, putting in tackles, trying
But
to assist, winning the ball back, tracking back, doing all of the basics.
imagine,
Then,
hey, Gundit News, imagine for one moment that we don't have Ozil and we have Alexis on the team. How does that play out with
oh
Emery?
my.
That would be a different kind of problem for Emery, right?
It would be a different kind of problem. Would I have that problem? Yes, if they can cut out the huge wage packet. Like, say for instance, Man United said to us, they'll give us Alexis back, right? I would require an apology, and Ozil goes the other way. I would require an apology from Alexis first of all for the way he left and his attitude, right?
Yeah.
Then wage packet has to be cut to less than even half of what he's currently earning. So say for instance around 200, 210, or what? Maybe start him off on like a 150, 160, right? And try and work with him. Try and get him back to our Alexis,
Yeah, the old Alexis. London Old School had a comment that at Arsenal, Alexis was the main man, and he's gone to Manchester United now, where he is another player.
Yep, that's what they do. London Old School, that's exactly what they do. That's what United does. That's why I hate them so much. That's why a lot of people do hate the club so much.
He'd also rather pay. He'd also rather pay Sanchez 200 grand.
Oh yes, hell yes. Any day, all day, every day, any minute of the day.
And thanks for your London Old School. Thanks for explaining the fair play, financial fair play. I think you said that if you're outside the Champions League spots, you get less um, less of a bandwidth to work with in terms of your wages and salary. So if you're in the Champions League, you can pay more. Am I right in saying that?
Yes, you're very right in saying that. Also,
wow, that really heightens the incentive to get into the top four. Thank you for that, London Old School. Appreciate you coming on. I believe that you're a subscriber, and I do appreciate that. If you're not, please subscribe. We are a small channel right now. We're hoping to get bigger, and if I could get to 25 subs in a couple of days, I'd be very happy, and we can grow this thing.
Yeah, so please do us a favor, and actually, when you subscribe, as well. Share it with all fellow gooners. Whoever you know who supports Arsenal, who supports Arsenal the way we support Arsenal.
Thank you
So
for the
we can
sub. I
have it.
do. London Old
I
School is a
mean,
sub already, so I do appreciate that.
lovely.
Um,
Thanks, London Old. Much
we are a
appreciated.
small band of brothers, and we're committed to bringing content every week. We're following this Arsenal bandwagon wherever way it goes, and he'd
Whether
look.
we lose or win, we will always support Arsenal until our last days.
Yes, and London Old School has subbed many Arsenal fan channel sites. My particular favorites are Lee Gunner and Deluded Gooner. I think they tally quite well with the way I think as well. So, but I do. Uh,
I'm also subscribed to let's see. I'm subscribed to Lee Gunner,
mhm.
DT's channel, Troops' channel. But of my favorites, it will probably be the likes of like Troops, and because Troops is like hood, he's like street.
Troops looks like a good time.
And,
I'd like to hang out with
yeah,
Troops. He seems like fun. And Lee Gunner as well. I mean, these people care. We all care deeply about the club. Some of us are going to
very,
voice.
very,
Some of us
very
voice our
democratic.
opinions more than others. Um,
There's
I
one, Raymond, I'm sure, I don't know if you've watched that. There's another gooner, he's got a beard. I don't know who he is. I
Turkish.
don't know if it's not somebody else, not Turkish.
Ah, okay.
There's another guy, but he does a show with Robbie where they basically analyze the game before the game on the
Oh,
blackboard.
that's
And like,
Graham Brooks. He does the
formation,
tactical side of it. Very, very
Graham,
good. Very good
Graham,
watch.
oh, I love that tactical analysis.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's something we could possibly venture into later on. We would
Yeah.
say, you know,
Yeah. I mean, I
this
think
is a team that,
we should all stay in our own road.
and
I think Graham is really, really good at that, but we can dip into.
yeah, no,
Uh,
I'm just pitching
yeah.
things back and forth
Yeah.
because
Yeah, if, London Old School, if you've got any comments as to any topics you would want us to talk about, I think we talked about that earlier, but we're just so pumped and so
yeah,
psyched about getting this thing going um, that Graham is good analysis, right? That's what London Old School says. Hey, we're a small channel, so you guys, subscribers, can divert us into whatever you want to talk about. We can make special episodes about certain topics. We all love the club dearly. We all want the best things for the club. We all want to be victorious and winning trophies down the line. That's the aim. I think we may even snag one this year, as unlikely as it looks. But we're all going to express ourselves in different ways, and some of us will be more vocal than others. We have to respect each other's opinion, and I know what happened in the last few years on AFTV. It became a very divided community. There is always going to be issues that
and we
we
don't want
differ
that
on.
poison to be what we do at all. We don't want negative comments and trolls and people, us fighting amongst each other
Yeah.
because of divided opinion.
London Old School has heard that fans are talking about boycotting merchandise at the Emirates. I think that's a really good way that we can get our point across. I mean, as we said earlier, people have handed down their season tickets from father to son. You would never want to break that link or stop it. We love the club so much. And it's such a great thing just to go to the stadium on the day. I've been there twice. It's amazing. It's really cool. Um,
I
uh,
cannot imagine because my an uncle of mine, he also supports. He's also supported Arsenal for many years. And when he was staying in London, I said to him, I can't believe at that time when I realized I was actually a gooner that I didn't say let me get on a plane, come and stay with you, and I could have gone to go watch a few games. But
yeah.
in the future, hopefully one of the days. As we grow our subscribers, they grow our family bigger, the family bigger, basically what happens is
Yeah.
we're able to meet each other actually at the games. Wouldn't
And
that be actually
what I've done the last couple of years is, I go back home, I go back to visit family in Ireland, and I be strategic about what Arsenal game I want to see. Go over the pond to see Arsenal. It's a great day out. It's a great day out, and I would love to do that again later this spring, and meet up with some gooners that maybe I'm going to become acquainted with on this channel, such as London Old School, or I've got Humphrey's another subscriber.
Even the likes of like a deluded gooner, or
Mhm.
meeting people like they call him Don Robbie.
Don, the Don, yeah.
Meeting, yeah, the Don.
I tried to get it. I tried to be interviewed with, but there was like 200 people around Robbie and AFTV.
You
It's
can
very,
imagine how quickly you'd have to be out. You'd have to be almost like known, like.
yeah. They really should open it up to interview more and more people. That's what we,
Yeah.
that's what we would like to do as we get established. We could bring a regular supporter on. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
that was a great game. London Old School was at the 1-1 game versus Liverpool at home. Great game, great atmosphere, and
Yeah.
I'm so obviously happy that Lacazette got the goal, so you could leave the stadium happy and great memories for the day. London Old School lives overseas also, but appreciate everybody coming on, and we are going to do this on the regular every weekend, and I'll be dropping a video here and there in between. But Arsenal Fan Circle, we would like to bring guests on in the future. We are going to sign out. If you have one more question, London Old School, you are our only live chatter right now, and as things, we'll remember you in the future as things get more and more busy, hopefully. You could remember you were here for the first episode, London Old School, and we had Ian Gallagher on earlier. Ian Gallagher talked about Alexis. Ian Gallagher is from Chile, and he obviously likes Pellegrini as well. So he talked about Pellegrini being a possible good choice for manager. Gundit News. We got one more question. And I'll leave this to you, Gundit. If you could buy any player, who would you buy? And I don't think that we're talking about loans. I think we're talking about hypothetical, full transfers. Let's even say it could be any value. Right, London Old School?
Can I push the question to you first? I would love to know who hypothetically you would buy if you.
Yeah, we're talking about hypothetical here. We all need a defender, right? I would definitely go for Koulibaly. I know it's not original choice. I would go for Koulibaly.
Yeah.
And if I'm looking for a winger, I would go for Pepe from Lille. Koulibaly's had a tough time. Van Dijk from Liverpool? Question mark? What do you think, Gundit?
Is this is realistic, right? Or is this
No, hypothetical. You can go crazy.
hypothetical?
Yeah.
Okay, right now I'm thinking of two people. I'm thinking of Nabil Fekir from Lyon. For our wing,
Yeah.
our right-hand side wing, or left-hand side wing. And the player I'm thinking of, I know this would be a dream for me actually. Would be either Griezmann or Dybala.
I think we all. Yeah, we're really getting hypothetical now. London School would love Messi.
Oh my goodness! It's just mad to think that.
I think Ozil could play with Messi.
Ooh, imagine that.
Yeah.
Even the likes of nah, I think that guy's a bit too old. I was gonna say Lewandowski, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think if we're gonna play Ozil more regularly in the midfield, and this is a problem Emery's got to deal with. If we're gonna stay with Ozil, which is get back to realism for a second, we need a stronger midfield enforcer We need a stronger midfield to support Ozil to go and do his work. We need a player like a Fernandinho. We need a Vieira type player again, who's physical. We
No,
need a
like somebody that's gonna be a bully.
exactly, exactly.
Yep.
I mean, I like that
He's just
aspect of
gonna
our
not that-
I've liked that aspect of our team lately, where we have been more dicks. You know what I mean? We've taken more
yeah.
yellow cards, cynical fouls, and I think we need
It's just
to
unfortunate that
continue
sometimes when
that.
a cynical foul happens, it's
Yeah, I
always
think
close to calls.
Under Wenger we were too nice, and if a player was pretending to be injured, you know, I think players are too
Yeah,
friendly with each other these
okay.
days. Back in the day, it
No
was more of a
problem.
rivalry.
It's no problem. You can sit out. I still give you money later on in the week.
Hey, London Old School, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. We've had two people come on over the course of an hour, and that really helps the two of us not be
Ian
waffling
as
to
well.
each
Shout
other.
out to Ian as well for coming on.
I'm sure people will be
Keep
watching this on the rerun as well. And I think we've
Oh
gone on
yes.
for an hour,
Shout
and
out to
that's
everybody else.
quite
The
enough
gooners.
time for everybody in the week um, to watch our content back. London Old School, please come back next weekend. I will be. They're gonna. Okay, London Old School is gonna come back. That's a promise, right? He's gonna see us after the Chelsea game.
Lovely.
I appreciate it. Maybe we do Sundays because Saturday is a lot of viewing from all of the other Arsenal fan sites, and maybe an extra day is a good time to let some of that steam out from a result yesterday. Although I am
Oh yes.
optimistic that we can beat Chelsea next weekend.
Oh yeah. Should you give a prediction before we leave?
Yeah, I'm going to predict a storming. The players have. Yes, exactly. London School says, see you after we beat Chelsea. I'm going to predict a very good
Oh, that'd be
reaction.
good.
A very good
I
reaction
like
to
that
this
as well.
game. I do think we let a goal in, but I think we win 3-1.
Ooh, I like that.
London Old School
I
thinks
would
it's
like.
a clear-cut 2-0 win, 2-0 win.
Ooh, I like that also. That
If we need a win. We need a win next weekend.
we need to be bullies. Absolute. We need to be basically gunmen. You know
Yeah.
how they did it in Ocean's 11, or not Ocean's 11, in another robbery film where they just stick up, and that's it. You have to give them the cash.
Yep.
We need to be doing that. Like,
What's your prediction?
My prediction is also. I'm also going with a 2-1. That's also quite close.
2-1, yeah.
I would personally, I would love a 3-1, just so that it's comfortable. You know, it's a little bit comfortable. But they need to show everything. They need to put it all out on the pitch next week.
Yeah.
Especially the likes of players who are not around. You
Well,
know.
London Old School, thanks for coming on. We're going to wrap things up now. Appreciate your time. I know everybody's time is important to them. I'm glad you were able to come on for a few minutes and talk to us.
People tuning
It
in.
makes it, you know, we're just starting out, so maybe you can see enthusiasm in my face and Gundit News's voice calling in. Hope that you could hear him clearly. This is our first episode, Arsenal Fan Circle. We're going to try to bring guests online with us so we can talk about all things Arsenal, everything we love about the club. And
yeah, we do love you guys. We do really appreciate all the love and support.
thanks for the sub. And yes, you can say in a few years that you have been with us from the start. Thanks, London Old School. We're going to sign out here. This is Arsenal Fan Circle. Please like,
And good.
subscribe, hit that bell notification for any new viewers that are watching after the live session, and send in your comments. I'll reply to every one of them. Gundit will chime in.